yeah, as I said, I mean, I've been a part of Extol since the very beginning. And somewhere down the line, after doing music for, I guess, 20 some years or something, or yeah, I just got really fed up with music. Um, and yeah, a lot of crazy stuff happened in my life. I sort of hit rock bottom somehow and sort of had to reboot. And in that period, like for many, many years, I really didn't, I weren't into music at all. I kind of hated music, to be honest. Some of my friends actually called me the music hater for a while because it was just so, yeah, that's a long story. But yeah, I wasn't into music at all and I didn't want to play music. And I thought for sure I'm done making and playing music for the rest of my life. And then COVID hit, and something happened inside me. I don't know whether it had anything to do with that, but suddenly I felt this insane. I just had to express myself somehow, and so I started writing some music again. First for another project, which is more like a progressive orchestral pop rock thing that I call Rada.
Yeah.
And then last year, yeah, so my friend in Australia, John Reichardt, he helped me out with some production on some of these Rada songs. And then he started saying that he wanted to do like a metal project and he had wanted to do that for many years. And obviously he lives on the other side of the globe. And we've only met once actually, like in real person, like live. But I was like, hey, okay, well, yeah, I want to do some metal again. And he was like, oh, you do? Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, you want to do it with me? Yeah, sure. And obviously at the same time, I've also started writing music with Extol again. So it's like a parallel thing there. But to me, to do a metal project without Extol is kind of cool as well. Extol is Extol, and that's what it is. But for me to start just looking into completely different
So I
kind of
know
metal was really good.
Extol is pretty much a kind of a technical death metal, and the
Yeah.
inTheosis stuff, it's very technical, kind of genty death, that metal kind of thing as well. So that, like musically, for me, they're different, but they are a similar kind of genre. Is it more the themes that are different then between the two rather than the music, or is there differences as well with the music?
To me, the music is very different, to be honest.
Okay.
But I know all the songs that are coming, and you obviously haven't heard those. So we're incorporating on this next single. I don't know whether I should. Yeah, yeah, it's already out there. I mean, we're doing a song with a rapper called Damien, a Norwegian
Yeah.
rapper called Damien. So we're incorporating rap. That would never have happened in Extol, that's for sure.
That's awesome, man. I saw that
Uh,
on your Facebook today when I was having a quick look
yeah.
through. I think Damien actually posted that he was involved with that. So the cat's out of the bag, man. He can't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, and to me, like inTheosis is yeah, it's got some progressive elements, it's got some technical elements, but it's much more poppy, if you understand what I mean. It's much more straightforward also and catchy and groovy. Obviously, Extol has some catchy, groovy stuff as well, but it also is not technical in that sense, like this super yeah, like Synergy, our Extol album called Synergy is like tech trash, it's yeah, inTheosis is quite far away from that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. So the time around, you said when COVID comes, so that'd be like the second hiatus that Extol went on, wasn't it? Because there was like a first one back in 2012. Oh no, 2007. I think my notes are saying
Yeah.
here. So there was like a first hiatus, then you got back together, and then the second one around 2017. Um, so during the first hiatus, according to like the kind of the details I've been digging around, you went through a lot of kind of personal issues at that time, quite dark things in your life at that point. Did that get, is that the kind of stuff that you're kind of really exploring on these last couple of tracks, where it's all talking about peace within the storms of life and and all of those kind of things. Are those the issues that you was kind of digging through?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I have anxiety. I still have it every now and then. It goes up and down in periods. It's quite shitty, and other times it's better. So it's something I'm dealing with and probably going to deal with for the rest of my life. So diving into these kind of themes I'll probably do that a lot. I even did it in 2013 on the Extol self-titled album. Like the Wasteland song from that album is about my journey through anxiety and depression and stuff like that. So yeah, for sure, Mysteria is definitely a song about my darker moments. That's sure. Yeah.
Hey, this interview was recorded for the UCB1 Rock Show, the only place on national radio in the UK currently playing Christian hard rock and heavy metal. If you want to tune in, even if you're outside of the UK, why don't you go check out the information in the first pinned comment and the description below. Okay, let's get back to the interview.
So when I looked through the video, which I thought was really, really good, like the song Mysteria is just really awesome. And I was just kind of checking out the lyrics as I was, just kind of listening to that track. I thought, musically it's just absolutely awesome. But I noticed in the kind of the description, you refer to yourself and the producer John as being both third culture kids that faced years of complex trauma respectively. I wasn't clear what that meant. What's a third culture kid, and how did that feed into this song?
Right. But by third culture kids, I was a missionary kid in Eastern Africa. So
Okay.
yeah, literally a third culture kid, which has definitely had its positives, but also I think very many missionary kids struggled with traumas, especially the ones who lived in boarding schools away from their parents for a long time, like year in and year out. Okay. It's obviously not a good idea. Yeah. So to me, that and my upbringing, some family relationships, that's the kind of trauma I'm talking about. And John has similar kind of relational and or religious traumas that he's been dealing with. So that's definitely like the one and only time we have met in person was actually at a bachelor party for a friend of ours, a mutual friend, and we just end up diving straight into these kind of things in that bachelor party. So yeah, that's funny, where we sort of met the first time.
Yeah, when you meet somebody who's been through those kind of similar kind of experience, it's almost like trauma bonding, isn't it? You know what I mean? You're just like, what, you too?
Yeah, exactly.
I had that, Yeah. So friends are made for life, really, on that kind of thing, aren't they? So yeah. How obviously, if did you actually take part in the faith then as a child? Did you actually share your parents' kind of Christianity, as it were, or did obviously they just kind of pull you around and you wasn't really in that? Is that how was you brought up within the Christian faith?
I would say as soon as I could start, thinking for myself, I definitely wanted to be a part of that. And I can remember from being quite young, like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, 7. Yeah. That I sort of had those kind of thoughts that I had to, or wanted to, wanted to be a part of this, wanted to know God, wanted to be used by God. The congregation that we were raised in was like a Norwegian Pentecostal kind of situation. So yeah, it was a lot about going out and reaching the world and evangelizing and doing something for God all the time. Yeah. So yeah, for sure, I was really a part of that. Growing up, I started going to the youth, thing, and became a worship leader at the age of 14 or something like that. and then really involved with the ministry, quote unquote. And then at the age of 17, 18, I started my own church together with some friends of mine, because we didn't feel like we felt like, a lot of the churches in Norway, they understandably didn't really understand metal, death metal, Pentecostal church in 1994 when we started. Death metal is not something people really enjoyed.
No.
So,
so what kind of differences did your church that you start have? Was it like metal worship music that you was playing then, was it? Or how did you incorporate that?
Yeah, actually not so much metal worship, because we did metal on the like everywhere else. But the thing was that we were a bunch of metalheads, punk rockers, some hip hoppers, some artists, everyone with a common faith, the common, yearning to create, to create something for the world, to create something that would glorify God, and just to have good fellowship and share true life with each other. So that was like the starting point for this church. Wow. It's called sub church, so it was sort of like for the subcultures. Yeah.
Is it still going right now?
Yeah, actually, it's still going. David, the Extol drummer, is still really involved there. Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, that's fantastic. I mean, I know that being one that came to the faith later on in life, I mean, I was already well entrenched in alternative music and, that kind of lifestyle, that kind of world, those people. It was all about kind of being your own person and being like kind of rebelling against the world, really. And it was really kind of weird to me that like we had this subculture of people who was all saying like the world's got the wrong kind of answers, the world is all like consumeristic, and it's just all about money and all this stupid stuff, and there's no point to it. But then we were all atheists as well, and it's like it's really weird. But we never felt kind of accepted or acceptable to the kind of the religious people, and it was like it was really weird. I guess like this sub-church that you referred to is kind of making a safe place for those people to explore religion. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. And you're completely right. Like sub-church would just embrace, people, whether you were atheist or whatever. Like, let's share fellowship. Let's explore what is it here that are the common grounds. What can we share? Basically, we're all in the same boat in this world as human beings. If we start looking at each other as I'm in this position and you're in that position, I'm inside and you're outside, it's a slippery slope. So at least that's for me more and more. The older I get, that's my philosophy in life. Just I don't really care what people call themselves, whether they call themselves Christians. To be honest with you, I really don't care. I don't know whether that's a good thing to say on a Christian radio show, but yeah, I just want people to sort of, love each other and share fellowship. If there's like one, like what's the meaning of life? Fellowship. Well, like that's it. Like, yeah.
I mean, I think on the Christian worldview, the purpose of life for me would be, to love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And I think that if you're, I think we do forget about that loving your neighbor as yourself thing, don't we? And we don't need to beat our neighbor into submission to believe, to say, I think some of the most powerful evangelism is when you invite that other into your camp and say, like, just come and be with us for fellowship with us. We're not going to compromise on our truth, but we're going to love you and show you maybe something that maybe the world doesn't show you as well. I like that. I think that's a really good thing.
Yeah, and as you say, also love God with everything. Like, that's fellowship as well. That's, I mean, like Jesus says, like, we need to become a part of him. Like, like a body. we're all separate limbs on a body, and we're all dependent on each other. We again, if we suddenly say that you are not part of this body and I am, man, it's we're on the slippery slope.
Hey, real quick, if you're having a good time today, please remember to hit that thumbs up button and leave us a comment below. It really helps this to get shared out to more people. And if you really want to help do that, why don't you share this video with a friend or drop it in a social media group of choice? Okay, let's get back to the interview.
I think we always underestimate the power of just loving people in that way, because the world doesn't do it, and I think that Christians do it really well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I completely agree. It's so important, and especially like always throughout history, but the way the world is today, with the polarization that we see today, like it doesn't seem like you can't even talk to someone with another opinion, because it's just it's really difficult, and that's a huge problem. So yeah, I'm a firm believer in inviting people to my house, cooking up some proper food, having some good drinks, and just talking with everyone around the table, sharing fellowship and good food. That's my
that's your jam.
I believe in that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, that's actually makes me think about on your Facebook page. It was like you talk about dichotomies between, like, things like heaven and hell, pain and suffering, heaven and bliss, and all these different things, all kind of mash them together, and that's what inTheosis is really exploring. Can you maybe speak into a little bit about all of those conflicting emotions states of being, I guess you would call them, and how they affect the music and how they're affected by your faith? Can you maybe just talk into that a little bit?
Yeah, that's a big theme.
Isn't it? I know it's such an unfair question, but do with it what you will.
I guess musically, like practically musically, I think you can see this kind of what is it you call it? Dichotomies?
I think
like
that's
this,
duality, maybe is a good
dualities, or I think that's shown in our music, sort of through this blend of brutality and beauty, basically. So, like, that's the way you can see it and hear it in our music. Thematically, where to start? I think that I can only speak for myself, but I've spent so many years sort of deconstructing a lot of my faith from when I grew up.
Okay.
From that Pentecostal upbringing. And I'm not saying that everything there was bad or anything like that, but and I'm not saying that everybody should do this, but for me, I had to do it because of these dichotomies, because I saw something in my life or in the world, and I had an image of how reality or how God was, or how humanity was, like how I would view something through the lens of the Bible or whatever. And it didn't make sense. Like, it wasn't true for me. I believe this and I saw this equals not true. So I sort of had to, I had to deconstruct quite a lot. And I think that's sort of what we mean a little bit when we say these kind of things, and also that you will probably see more and more in our lyrics as well, where we sort of our next song, I can speak a little bit about that, is called Iconoclast.
Third single. I noticed that's coming out. Actually, by the time this interview goes out on air, that actually might be out already. But
maybe. But Iconoclast, the next single, is basically about crushing these icons or these mindsets or these doctrines or whatever you have in your life that basically prevents you from being more whole.
Mm.
And that's the way I see it with me deconstructing some of what I used to believe. I see it as a part of maturing, as a part of evolving, as a part of becoming more whole in my life. And when I talk about this to many Christians, they get scared and they think that I'm, you are on the wrong path and blah, blah, blah. Okay, maybe I am, maybe not. I have to do it because I have to be honest with myself.
So where would you, I mean, that to me sounds very much, if not like progressive Christianity adjacent. It sounds similar to that whole deconstructing and finding more of your personal subjective truth on that. Do you still hold to things like the inerrancy of the Bible and things like that, or would you say that the word is more of a truth that unfolds and is to be discovered? How would you say you feel about the Bible with this mindset?
I think that's probably one of the biggest things I have had to deal with. Where when I was younger, I read the Bible quite literally. Although reading the Bible literally is still analyzing and like with our English interpretations, like what is it, like number X, it has been interpreted, right? So reading something literal or just, you will always have to analyze something when you read it, whether you...
I think what we're saying there is it's like, in science, it's never, the science doesn't say this, scientists say this, because you do an experiment, you get data, and then that data needs to be interpreted, doesn't it?
So interpreted, that's what I mean,
yeah. So you're interpreting the data. So it's not, the science doesn't say this, scientists have interpreted the data and they believe that data says this. And where you're kind of saying there with regards to the Bible, it's like, that's the word of God, but man needs to interpret what that says. And obviously there's the whole field of like hermeneutics, which is like how to unpack the Bible and understand that. But
and I mean, like just the fact that there are so many different interpretations, so many different congregations, so many, like from year 0 and up to now. Like you can have a passage in the Bible that has been interpreted like 100,000 different ways, right? So just the pure logic of that tells me that, like, if God had meant it to be like, this is literally the one thing I'm trying to tell you, like, well, it's not working because, So to answer the question, I'm not reading the Bible as any literal thing anymore. I'm reading it as something that has been written by man, something that has been written by human beings that really want to say something about God. Some of the books in the Bible are clearly like historical books. Some of them are clearly, poems. Some of them are other things. But I don't really take that as any literal, like, God says this and that, and here is the one and only truth sort of thing anymore.
Okay. So when it comes to the music that you're writing, how would you do you still insert God into that, your faith into that, or are you less talking about God or your exploration of who God is and how you're searching for him? How does the faith come into this inTheosis music?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, faith is a big part of it. The whole spectrum of, because I mean, I would still, say that I'm I guess a Christian, but as I said earlier on, I don't really care what I call myself or what other people call me, because it doesn't really matter to me that much. But I think the important things that I have taken from my Christian beliefs and from the Christian tradition that I've been brought up in, and the Christian tradition that I'm still a part of, being in in Norway, it's like a Christian so-called country. And I mean, either way, how you put it, you're part of a Christian culture here. And I appreciate that. There are so many things I appreciate that, but I also hate a lot of things about it. But all the good things and all the things that I feel that I have sort of, okay, as I've grown and as I've evolved, if I see something in that sphere that can make me more whole, I want to talk about it. I want to sing about it. I want to share it because it's something good. It's something the world needs, I think.
I agree with that. I agree that the world definitely needs more tolerance, more understanding, more conversation, more openness to speaking about things. And even when maybe somebody believes that they know the truth, I think often just being able to say something along the lines of I could be wrong. There's certain core things that I hold with an iron fist. There's certain things I could be wrong, and just opening up a conversation, I think it goes a long way to drawing people in. I think that's a good thing. I can't believe how quickly the time has gone today, Peter. That has just been absolutely amazing. I am going to put a link to all of the inTheosis stuff in the YouTube video that's going to go out of the full conversation. I'll make sure that the videos are just available for people to go and check. I've just had such a great time talking to you today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
It's been awesome.
So that is Peter from Extol talking about his latest project, inTheosis. If you want to find out more about the band, get yourself down to the description where I've linked all of his socials. If you've had a nice time today, why don't you hit that subscribe button and come back next week when I'm going to be talking to Kevin Button, frontman and main man from the artist KAB. He's going to be telling all about his story. He's really cool. Until then, take care of yourselves. I'll see you later. Goodbye.